Hello everyone, my name is Shane, and in this video, we're going to be checking out the 2022 Motorola RAZR. This phone is on sale at the time of this video. I'll have some links in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. The price starts at around $1,100. Now, there's a few reasons I'm super excited for this phone. The first being that it was originally only going to be available in China, but now we're getting reports it's available in the UK. It's also coming to the US. So this is a very exciting phone that's going to be available for everybody if they want to get their hands on it. And also, it is significantly improved on paper, at least, over the original Motorola RAZR that I reviewed on the channel for $1,400 with a lot less features and functionalities. So let's just go ahead and get into the box here and check out the Motorola RAZR 2022 edition. Inside the box, we have our device. We have a 33-watt charger included in the box. Also great to see a case in the box. We have some black outlines here with just a clear plastic and a nice big cutout for that outer display. I have a Type A to Type C charging cable to go with that charging brick. A little bit of paperwork here inside, but overall, nice boxing presentation. First impressions straight out of the box, really liking this look and design here. We have the dual cameras on the outside here, have a little flash sensor there. You can see the outline for that 2.7-inch screen. Going to be checking that out in a bit here. Now we do have a plastic back on here, but this is a much nicer matte feeling finish. It feels a lot more premium, and overall the phone does feel very solid and put together. There's a very prominent click when you do open it all the way up. On the right side here, we have our power button and the volume rockers. On the left side, we have a mic at the top left, nothing else on the left. On the bottom, we have one of our two speakers. We have our Type-C port capable of that 33-watt charging, have another mic, have our SIM tray, and on the top, we have another mic. Similar to the Flip 4, we also have some Motorola branding here on this sturdy feeling hinge. And this is a heavier phone compared to the Flip 4 by about 15 to 20 grams, but this is a wider phone as well. So I feel like it's a weight that you don't even really necessarily notice. On the inside of the phone, opened up, you can see we do have a screen protector pre-installed straight out of the box. So great to see we have some peace of mind and protection there. And as you can see in the middle, there's very little to no crease on this phone compared to the Flip 4. You can see there is a very prominent crease there. Now let's check the opening and closing experience. Wow, so this actually springs up, which I really like a lot. You see how minimal of effort that took for me to just simply open it up. And this is a great opening and closing experience. But here's our first look at the 6.7-inch display here on the 2022 RAZR. We have a very small hole punch cutout on the front here, so not intrusive with the display all that much. But everything here from a physical perspective, initially at least, is definitely checking out for me. This has a great overall feel. I like the extra width of this phone. There's always these weird aspect ratios with these foldable phones in general. And I'm going to go ahead, use this for the day, and come back with you guys on my first impressions of the 2022 Motorola RAZR. All right, so it's actually been a few days now since my last recording. I've been using this RAZR for the past few days, and I'm ready to share some of my first impressions with you guys. Start with just getting into this phone. Since it is a flip phone, what I love about it is that it is so easy to get in and out of this phone. In this closing part, it just closes so easily. Whereas on this Flip, it's kind of resistant the whole entire way, which as more time passes, I find that I would rather just get into the phone quickly and easily. You see, I don't have to whip the phone up or anything. It's very easy to open and close this guy. There is still just a bit of noise when you are opening and closing it. For whatever reason, when you press over the middle of the screen, there's just a little bit of clicking going on. Not sure why that's the case. So while from a strictly physical perspective, the Flip 4 might be a little more physically sound, I'm finding that in day-to-day use, this 2022 RAZR is honestly more enjoyable in ways than it is on the Flip 4. I'm very happy with the lack thereof of a crease on this 2022 RAZR. You can barely feel this when you're running your finger around it. It's just crazy to me how much of a normal display this feels like despite it being able to fold in half. I think we can all agree that the crease advantage is going to the 2022 RAZR here, and the result is you have an excellent display here. So jumping into the display, you have a 6.7 inch 1080p 144 hertz OLED display. So the display experience on this RAZR for me in the last few days has honestly been phenomenal. I like it so much because we have a wider phone here compared to, again, on the flip. Getting this wider screen, you're getting much more of a conventional smartphone experience compared to the Flip 4. Next to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, this also has a 6.7 inch display. These are honestly very similar looking displays, which is just so cool to see because we've been so accustomed to these Samsung phones with these kind of odd aspect ratios. Holding them both side by side, this feels more of like a TV remote. This feels more of like an actual phone. So I think for a lot of people, it'll be easier to see this kind of transition if you're going to be going from a regular smartphone to a flip phone. Like, hey, I'm going to be getting a similar screen size to an iPhone 14 Pro Max on this RAZR here that just folds in half and just goes right in your pocket, or you can easily hold it in the palm of your hand. It's honestly very appealing, and the display is one of the major areas that there's been a huge improvement. And then, of course, behind this screen, we have excellent specs to go with it. We have the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor, is the same processor in the Flip, which provides insane battery life and great performance as well. I'm not going to give final conclusions on battery life just yet with this guy. Giving the phone some time to get used to my usage patterns really makes a difference, but knowing that it has the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor and a much beefier battery than the previous RAZR, I'm very optimistic about the battery life on this guy. Next thing I want to quickly address are the Moto Actions. You're getting all of these great features in a compact phone. So over the last few days, this RAZR has been my primary flashlight over any other device or just any other flashlight because it's so easy to just grab this guy, have it in the palm of your hand, and be able to just use a flashlight for whatever it is you need. Simply from just 2 chops of your hand, it turns on and off that flashlight. It's just so easy to grab the phone, double chop, you got your flashlight right there. And the same functionality goes for the camera. So you're able to just twist your hand twice, and you're going to be opening right up to that camera. So now jumping into these cameras, I'm actually pretty impressed with the camera quality here on this 2022 RAZR. We now have an ultra wide camera as well, which takes okay photos in my initial testing, but I'm also impressed with that primary lens. And also the video quality is pretty good here. I did some filming in 4K 60, and the raw footage here honestly is pretty good. The hole punch camera on the inner display is a 32 megapixel camera and does get the job done. I think that's more so there just for your face recognition. You're going to mostly be using this camera here, whether you're using it in this orientation to take some selfies with that primary lens or just quickly opening it up and going ahead and filming whatever it is you need to shoot. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I love using the camera on these clamshell phones just because they're so accessible. They're so easy to have in your hand. I have these phones in my hand more than I do in my pockets, and it's just so easy to quickly go ahead and capture something while you're out and about. So even though a phone like this might not have as beefy of cameras compared to something like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I find myself using cameras more on these clamshell foldables than I do conventional large smartphones. But just overall, picture taking, video filming, and things like that are so much fun on this 2022 RAZR. And then as far as selfies go, you have a great 2.7 inch display here to be able to take selfies. It doesn't matter which orientation you hold the phone in, it's going to take a square photo for you each and every time. You can just tap here to take your photos on this guy. You can also switch between all of your different camera options as far as portrait mode, video, slow motion, time lapse. You can go back and view your different things that you took pictures and videos of. And for what it is, this is honestly producing some pretty good results here. Now, addressing the outer display, since this is obviously a big difference from the Samsung, we have a 2.7 inch outer display here. But even with that said, just having extra real estate doesn't tell the entire story. It is nice you can do things like open up YouTube very easily. And as you can see, you have a full YouTube video here with no problems. But now some of my qualms with this outer display is that apps just aren't really compatible with this screen. I can't even read this entire just verse of the day on the phone because half of the screen is taken up by some of these taskbars and things like that. I have old school RuneScape running here. My left menu is the only one that shows up, so I can't even access my inventory. I can't check my stats. That whole side of the screen just isn't there for whatever reason. So it's just another example of apps not being compatible with this outer display. Now you are able to send text messages from this screen, which is pretty nice. But again, you can see this top part here, the bottom part here, it's taking up nearly half of this display. Now what's cool though is that you can select a text and then you're able to read the entire text and use the full display. These are the kind of things that we want to see on this outer display. Okay, I'm able to use the whole entire screen and now I can just switch back and now I'm back to this. And now I can go ahead and send a message. And you can't help but notice, but just looking at the front of this phone, this big black square, and there's just huge bezels here. And I feel like there's just so much more potential to just stretch out this screen, make it fit the entire real estate of the front of this phone. But I'm definitely hoping for some updates to come to this outer display. Now in the box with this Razr, you do get a case, which I absolutely love this, especially when you just get it out of the box, that you have a case to go with it. And it does give you a lot of grip, which I absolutely love. This is a pretty slippy phone in the hand if you don't have a case on it, and it doesn't affect the opening and closing or anything, which if I didn't mention it before, I'll mention it now. We have a fingerprint sensor built into the power button, and I absolutely love getting into my phone this way. You quickly build the muscle memory to just open up and just lay your thumb right on that sensor. Here on the Razr, I've had no problems with gaming. It's actually very enjoyable. There are some gaming features on this Razr phone that just allow you to quickly do some of those things that you might be interested in doing while gaming. The aspect ratio is very gamer friendly. The phone is just very slim in the hand, and you can see there's just plenty of room here to go ahead and play your games. Got some old school RuneScape running here, and the fact that you're able to just have this with you on the go with the top performance 144 hertz refresh rate, which yes, this does run at 144 hertz. Super smooth and buttery, and then just be able to just quickly fold this up and move on with your day. First impressions, I'm super impressed with this phone. It is super enjoyable to quickly open and close and just use and enjoy on a daily basis. All the specs are here. A lot of good opening and closing functionality. The crease is pretty much non-existent. Fingerprint sensor is phenomenal. Battery life has been good enough for me in my initial testing. A great solid overall phone here from Motorola. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the 2022 Razr down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to the Shane Symonds YouTube channel today. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.